And so, my dear ones, here we are, another Sunday, another week ahead of us. What will it be? Our topic today is, all about inclusiveness and togetherness and unity and commonality and the bond that we all share with all of life. The whole month has been dedicated to this. And Monica really illustrated how when we all work together in sync with each other, in lockstep with each other, life is so much more wondrous indeed when we're all united under a common goal, a common purpose. And we have a common purpose. Our mission and vision has always been, from the beginning, to awaken ourselves and humanity to its spiritual magnificence through creating a world, a compassionate world, a love-filled world that works for everyone. We do it by honoring presence and nurturing spirit and enriching the life of all we serve here. That's our endeavor. That's our vision. And our mission is to carry it out and see it through. And so, for all of us who are tuned in together as one today, something is being asked of us in an invitation, because nothing is ever forced in spirit. It's always invitation. The presence is always courting us, all the mystics tell us. What's the problem then? We refuse to court back. That's the problem. We ignore it most of the time. But not now. You can look out into the world and you can see all the catastrophes, etc., that are happening, and there are catastrophes happening. No denying that. And you can see it as Armageddon, whatever people think that is. Or you can see it the way we see it, as a magnificent opportunity as the world is cusping in transition into the next level of being, a higher level of being. And as we do this transformation, it's like birthing. It has its birth pangs. And my goodness, we can see all of that happening. But we cannot disown any of it as not being ours. It's all ours. It's all ours. Because the focus is, it's time for you, for me, to understand once and for all there's no such thing as a personal, private life. No thought is private. No deed is private. Everything is registered and everything is seen and heard in the one mind. And you and I are a consciousness in the one consciousness, and we're all feeding that collective consciousness with everything we think, everything we feel, everything we do, all of what we are. Good, bad, and indifferent. It's all going into the collective pot, the soup pot. So what you and I want to be doing, as I often remind myself, is not pouring any toxins into the common soup pot, poisonous stuff. And we all know what that is. We want to be pouring in that which is life-giving, that which is flavorsome, the flavor being love and kindness and goodness and the understanding that I am here only for one thing. And what's more, I volunteered to come in at this time for that one thing. And what is that one thing? So that I could be a very real and present help in this transitional time now specifically. We're the frontliners. We're the ones that put me up front. And we're the ones, are the vanguard, to facilitating this transference, this change, this upliftment, regardless of how everything looks, regardless of what it all appears to be, which is not what it is at all. And the thing is, you don't have to get bogged down in all of the stuff that's going on out there in this sense. The only thing you and I have to do is what Ramana Maharishi said. The best thing you could do for the world, the very best thing you could do for the world is self-realize. So the job for you and the job for me as we came in and we knew it is to self-realize. What does that mean? It just means be the blinking best of yourself. That's all it means. Be the best of yourself. Get with it. Start seeing yourself at your best. Vision yourself at your best. So that you can start feeling you're at your best. And when we do that, we're awesome in power. We have the power to sustain our every endeavor together as one to get the job done. The mending, the fixing, the healing, the bringing together of all that is good and whole and wholesome. Because my experience is, and I'm seeing it more and more and more in this time of challenge, there's so much good in us all. And that people are eager and keen to make the difference. It's what I see. See, the thing is, what you think about, what you focus on, what you feel about, is what you experience. That's what you draw into your experience. So that's what I see. I can remember once upon a time, a long time ago, up in Hollywood, many years ago, it was Halloween, and everybody was out on the boulevard wearing their costumes and so on and so forth. And I happened to be teaching high school at that time, and in our high school, we had a Halloween kind of gathering and display and so on. And two of us as teachers, we dressed up as punk cats because Cats was out at the time. And we were dressed up like punk cats. And we were walking down Hollywood. With some of our high school students, we were walking down Hollywood Boulevard. And we happened to be passing the theater, the Wax Museum Theater. And the guys were out scouting, and they dragged us in, and they put us up on a stage, and we got a prize. And we came back, and then a friend of mine later was saying, "Oh my God, did you see Hollywood on Halloween? Oh Lord. Oh, it was terrible. People drunk, people, cussing, people this, that, and the other." I said, "No, I didn't see any of that. It was a whole lot of fun. Families were out, children, everybody was having a great good time." So at that moment and that time, I'm focused on something very different to that person. So she had one experience and I had a totally different experience, and that's how mind works. That's how consciousness works. What you're feeling, what you're thinking, what you're seeing, you attract. Because you and I are magnets. We're magnetic fields. And we attract into our magnetic field everything we're thinking, feeling, and are focused on. The good, the bad, and the indifferent, you see. So now, in this time, at this great challenging situation that we all find ourselves in, we need to be focused on what we want to attract into our orbit. Healing essence, healing energy, love energy, courage energy, patience energy, non-judgmental energy. And not be bowled over by this and that and the next thing and what they think and what she thinks and what them out there are thinking and so on and so on. No, it's none of that. It's what are you thinking? That's all that's important. What are you feeling? That's all that's important. What are you seeing and visioning? That's all that's important. If you really want to serve, if you really want to help mend and fix and heal, we need each other. We are of each other. We're all of source. We're of each other. Together we are mighty. Together we are strong. Together we can get it done. But not separated and apart from each other, it's not going to happen. Not fighting with each other, it's not going to happen. Not separating ourselves from each other, It's not going to happen. Now, when are we going to wake up and see this? Now, this has been tried since time began, this business of keeping ourselves to ourselves and being tribal. We've long since passed the tribal experience of life and living, and yet some people insist on living as a tribe. It's time for the tribal stuff to be on its way. Go on, git, as Jimmy Fallon would say. Go on, git. We are one, one, one. However you want to see that, look at that, there's no getting away from it. Now, we can divide ourselves, cut ourselves up into this section, that section, the other section, and we can be superior to this or that, or we can be inferior to this and that, however we want to perceive it. None of us needs to feel inferior about anything. None of us is inferior. None of us. And if we feel inferior, it's because that's the way we think about ourselves. We're not. And if we think we're greater than others, baloney, we're not. We are all one and the same substance. We come from one and the same substance, but we have this individualized expression of ourselves, which is called free will. I'm free to express that uniqueness however I choose to. It's time that we chose to do that in kindly ways, in loving ways, in inclusive ways. When the creation of the world happened, it was a complete creation. Instantly it was complete, and instantly it was declared as good and very good. And then what happened? The whole process of evolution entered in from the get-go, from the very beginning. Evolution started on the very first type of life, because that was the way the divine design set it up. That everything in creation in manifest form would evolve and evolve and evolve and evolve and evolve and keep evolving into something greater, something bigger, something more awesome throughout eternity. That's always. It never changes. And it began. And now here we are at this stage of evolution. And in some ways we're very advanced, and in some ways we're still extremely primitive. You see, it seems to me that our emotional growth did not keep up with our intellectual growth. I think too many of us are still at the level of emotional 4-year-olds. Can you imagine a 4-year-old playing with a gun? Never mind an atomic bomb. Now, so we have to, get a balance between all of that. You see, and our emotions are a beautiful thing. They are just a grace-filled, beautiful thing when those emotions are used constructively. We need each other as a unit. Together, we can do wonderful things, achieve wonderful things, accomplish wonderful things. I came across this because it has to do with our topic for this month, and I'm going to share this with you. It is a piece from Ralph Waldo Tryon, and it's from In Tune with the Infinite, and here's what he says. I really get it. Anyone, a fool or an idiot, can be exclusive. It comes easy. It takes and it signifies a large nature to be universal and inclusive. Only the man or the woman of a small, personal, self-centered, self-seeking nature is exclusive. The man or the woman of a large, royal, unself-centered nature is never, ever, ever exclusive. That is the one who loves merely, not only himself, but all. The other loves all the world, but in his larger love for all the world, he finds himself included, the one who is unselfish, the one who is inclusive. And the Buddha says, he who experiences the unity of life sees his own self in all beings. How many more times can we remind each other before it really sinks in, before we get into the lockstep? You know, it's true when 2 or 3 are gathered together, there am I in the midst. What is that in the midst? It's the unity, it's the harmony, it's the breath, it's the oneness. You go for a walk with a friend and very soon you'll find yourself breathing at the same rate and walking with the same step. I've always marveled at that. Always marveled at that. So what is it going to be, my dear ones? What are we going to order up for ourselves this week, spiritually speaking? I'm excited for each and every one of us. I really am. This is the time for all of us to come into our own. Truly come into our own and make a super huge difference. It doesn't matter what your status is. It doesn't matter what your condition is right now. It doesn't matter if you have felt truly miserable or life is going to hell in a handbasket or whatever that looks like on the negative side. That can come straight up. You can move right up out of that by the change of a feeling, the change of a consciousness, a different idea, a different mindset, a different choosing of how I am going to feel. Now, make no mistakes about it. I know the De Profundis very well, and that is a prayer that begins with, "Out of the depths, O Lord, I cry to thee." I know that. That's common to me. I'm in and out of that at times. But the beauty and the grace is now I know how to get out of it more quickly. I know how to get out of it more quickly. I take my mind off the whole shooting match and I put my mind on the truth that sets me free from all of that. The truth is that right where I am, there's an infinite being, living and moving and having its being in me. I am, as the song goes, I am the spot where God shows up, living, moving, having being. I am the place where God shows up. Now, I want to show up as that godly self, not the broken, the battered, the tortured, the whatever egoic self would have me be. Enough already with the egoic self. It can become quite the little tyrant. And it's a beautiful thing, the ego. It really is. It gives us our personality. It makes us distinctly ourselves. And it's beautiful when it's in check and balance, when it feels safe, when it feels secure. Nothing more wondrous than a balanced ego. Nothing. But remember, we have to stop allowing the tail to wag the dog, so to speak. I'm not the tail, I'm the whole dog, in a sense, using that analogy. So why should one part of it be in charge of the rest of me, which is the truth of me? It makes no sense, does it? You're amazing, you're great, and that's what I will always be here to point out. You're not your circumstances, you're not your situations, you're not your conditions, you're none of that, absolutely none of that, although right now for some of us it may not feel like that. I understand that too. It may not feel like that, but do like I do. I say, Moira, whether you think it or not, whether you feel it or not, whether you believe it or not, the truth is you're not any of that. Now, do you want to stay thinking and feeling you are, or do you want to just snap your fingers and snap out of it? What is it going to be? I have a little picture of that bowl of cherry little girl with her hat and her big glasses on my refrigerator like this saying, "Snap out of it." It always makes me smile, and it does help me. I absolutely tell you that it helps me. So a lot of the time I'm having to snap out of it, and I'm learning about the grace and the energy and the power and the presence of spirit within me. I get to it more quickly, and the times between when I have to do that becomes longer and longer and longer. You know, I'm acknowledging we're all very, very human, and that's a beautiful thing. But in our humanity, sometimes we go astray. We get a bit lost. I mean, life gets a bit too much. You hear people saying that all the time. And then you have to snap out of it, snap out of it, snap out of it, because you can. You can, and you're so much more than any of that. And the world needs you. The world needs me right now, just exactly as we are, with a little bit of a changing our makeup, so to speak, our spiritual makeup, a little bit of change up in the way we're thinking and feeling and believing. You know, only believe, all things are possible, only believe. It's a cliche, but my goodness me, we need all those cliches to come into reality right now. If it's going to be, it's up to me. We say this all the time, but most of the time it's going in this ear, and out the window. We want to keep it in between the ears and every bit of us. That I can do all things in the one who strengthens me. I of myself do nothing. It is the power, it is the presence of the Father within me that doeth the work. No, my word is not my own. My word is the word of the one who sent me, said the great master teacher, Jesus, and lived it. Well, what he also said is, you too can live as I have lived. You too can know what I know. You too can do what I have done. You most certainly can. Provided we become one with life, one with peace, one in unity, one in harmony, together as one. See, it's not enough to be in this together. We've got to be in this together as one. And I'm telling you, you looking in, the few of us here in the sanctuary right now, we are the one that the world has been waiting for. We are the one, all of us. We are the one. So I will leave you with a reminder that I always like to leave you with regard to yourself. You are, and always were and always will be, that awesome, powerful point of light through which the infinite one expresses itself in all of its magnificence, if you choose to be the outlet to its inner grace, power, life, and light. You have never been without it. You have never been shorted in any way. You always have it. You've always been it. And now the invitation is, be your truth. Express, express, express. And so it is, my dear ones.